So we are getting ready to have our weekend walkabout webinar, which is primarily about bulbs and color, but a lot of in our garden topics. You guys you're coming up with great topics and we're running around doing so much stuff ourselves. It's like, there's too many things to talk about. But it's fun to talk about stuff like that. You're supposed to have this, right? I'm too shaky with it. So we're just watching people as they come in, and everybody knows this who's here already. They know about keeping the microphone off and using the chat. We have 4 in for a penny, in for a pound. We have 4 poll questions today.
4, count them.
And we'll be asking you to put stuff into chat about bulbs that you like and places to buy them. I've lost control. Thank you. And people don't raise their hand very much, but Valerie, looks like we need to click Valerie's mute. There we go. Now you have to get
Michelle's got a hand up.
Okay, now you have to go back. Oh, good, Michelle, go for it. Open your microphone. It is open.
Yep.
Good morning.
I took a plant. This is going to be very specific to just you and I, though. I took a plant from you from the Waterford Library, and it was purple, and it the little tiny bell-like flower whose petals kind of curved backwards towards us, and I don't remember what it was. Do I need to send you a picture?
Tiny flowers, they bow backwards.
From the library.
And it's from the library. Might be something.
Maybe it'll show up
today.
today. Maybe she'll see a glimpse of it.
Yeah, you might see.
Okay, I'll
Because there's a couple
it has
pictures.
layers of flowers, you know, like it'll be a group of flowers, and then a stem, and then a group of flowers, and then a stem.
It's a tall plant. It's
Yep.
It's a blue bush clematis.
What?
Yes, it's a clematis. It's one of the
Awesome.
clematis, and it gets they will seed around. We've had them come up in a couple of different places in the garden, and we do dig them out regularly. We gave 3 of them away this week too. It's a very nice plant. We like it a lot, and if you're out there at the right time of day, the smell is outstanding on that plant. Just wonderful, sweet smell.
Okay, great. Thanks.
For some reason, I was thinking of a tiny plant.
Yeah, that's what I kept thinking.
Yeah, this is a good guy. So what Michelle did is raised her hand, and when we saw the hand raise it, she pops to the top of the list, and we can see that and ask her to not make host. Sorry, I just made you host.
Wait.
Oh.
I was supposed to use
You were
this,
supposed
and
to
then you reach over and grab it every
Well, I didn't
time.
know if you noticed that Sonia was there.
I just
Good morning, everyone.
Grab it.
Not me.
And I'm checking, is the bulb guide here? I'm not seeing it.
There, no, there is there supposed to be a bulb guide? Steve,
I
did
said
you-
there might be a. I
There
thought
is
I said might.
There
There's
is no
hand.
handout specific to
I
today. We're going.
Okay, it says on the main page, it says there is a note-taking guide available to download here on our audience materials page. So I'll just check.
Yeah,
Another
okay.
typo.
Yeah, no, that's not a typo. It's just you always leave me. You always leave me that one to fix up. And we had a minor problem solved by Cindy, or indirectly by Cindy.
Yeah.
I went to make an email to Cindy because she was having trouble signing on last week. And late last night, when I went to send her an email, I looked and there was no meeting on Zoom. It went away. Stephen can't make up these long, complicated numbers that he sends out. I said, "There's no meeting. It's disappeared off the board." And if I hadn't been looking, it wouldn't. So,
we would have been scrambling.
But at that point, I would have been finding his note about the
Handout. I forgot to ask you about it when I
Yeah,
resent.
we have this division of responsibilities and doesn't always divide so nicely.
But
Anyway.
division doesn't always equal communication.
Anyway, when you raise your hand, you pop to the top of our list, and we know then to tell you, okay, turn your microphone on. But for the most part, it's better to keep that off so that people can only see your name or what you choose to put up. Thank you. Click, thank you. And the raise hand is in participants menu or reactions or someplace down there. I think everyone knows how to use chat, which is great. Try to make it to everyone unless you really want it to be secret. Don't make it to Janet and Steve because we miss those things all
We
the
can't.
time.
handle it.
Yeah, we read chat afterwards and then email people with answers on things that might have gotten missed, but not much that gets missed.
Not much gets
With
missed.
Sonia watching the chat, nothing gets by. There is a place where you can save the chat if you're on a computer or a laptop, but probably not on a tablet and not on your phone. And you can always ask us if there was something cool in the chat that you wanted to keep. Let us know. We can send you the raw file as it comes to us. And I think most people have got their screens figured out by now that it's the chat is popping around and on top of your and you don't want it there and it's annoying. You can go into view, and this is Sonia's wonderful explanation to us. Exit, get out of your full screen and choose one of the side-by-side options, and then you'll get a bar between the pictures of the speakers and the pictures that they're showing, and you can move that bar around to change the relative size of things, which is very cool. Very, very cool. Thank you, Sonia. There are 4, count them 4. Sonia, we're in for a penny and for a pound here. Poll questions today that we're going to be asking you. A couple because I just wonder, and a couple because I think it'll make the chat a little bit more valuable to some people. So we'll remember to take a copy of it when it comes up.
We see it, but sometimes they.
Today, we're going to be referencing earlier webinars, and you'll have to download those note-taking guides if you decide that's a webinar I need to go to. But with the number of topics that we have today and all over the board that we're going with the questions, there was no way to put a webinar together and also put a piece of paper together.
Often with these in our garden makeup at the last moment, handouts are a little more difficult to do.
We're busy doing the things that we're telling you about and taking pictures of.
New Zealand's gonna be very
and sometimes sometimes we have to write the same guide over again. Yeah, New Zealand will be interesting. So are there any questions from the floor here?
I see that Michelle's hand is still up, but that might be, as I say in my classes, a legacy hand that was just up from before. Yep. If you don't mind, I was going to turn on my camera and show off the current crop of monarchs that are sitting here with me.
I'm stopping share.
Yes.
Let's see, I'll go ahead and spotlight myself, so I'll pop up. Oh, I can't, there I can, spotlight. So she arrived last night and just dripped a bit on my computer. Thank you, lady.
During the night?
And in the evening. And so she spent the evening hanging out, and it looks like we've got
the one ready in a minute here.
And that
Oh,
guy
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So we might get a couple of emergencies during webinar today, and I might have to run out if she starts getting impatient. But yeah, I just thought I would. This is the last of the summer crop.
Those that are on deck look a lot darker looking on the screen than in real life.
Yeah.
See through this.
Yeah.
In real life, you can see through to the spots.
To the orange. Yeah, the reflection isn't really helping.
No.
Yeah, the camera's not great. But no, they are. You can see their wings. They're ready to go. Anyway, that's just what I'm doing at the moment.
That's exciting. Now we had 2 monarchs wandering around in the garden yesterday, which was very cool to do and share. There you go. So if there are not any questions from the group, we do have questions that came in.
I'm not seeing anything yet, although Karen is giving Squeaks the shrub trimmer blade recommendation, which is very nice.
We did get a question from Barb, who wondered what that beautiful bright yellow thing is that blooms for the second half of summer along the edge of the road. And try as I might, I couldn't find in my file where it was that day that on the way to see Sonia, I said, stop and take a picture of the birdsfoot trefoil. And I think it's in your camera someplace.
Yeah.
But birdsfoot trefoil is probably what she was looking at, almost certainly what she was looking at. Many highway departments mix it in with their seed mix because it's a wonderful survivor at the edge of the road and the shoulder. It's naturalized all over the United States. So it's if you have a problem with invasive plants, this is not one to have, but it's already everywhere.
Yeah.
But I actually stole some of it. It showed up in Steve's brother's yard, and I went, yes, birdsfoot trefoil, because it's kind of hard to find the seed unless you're buying huge amounts of seed. And it's a very wonderful, cheerful little plant right for the edge of the road. Drive over it if you want to.
It's at the place I run the dogs, and the one area never gets any water, and it's been blooming there
Yeah,
for
yeah,
weeks.
it's a great plant, and really doesn't seed itself around very much. Not that I found. We grew it at our old house too.
It's not.
I thought it was neat just to have something called birdsfoot trefoil.
Yeah.
But to have a lotus in your yard, I have a lotus. Yes.
Yeah.
We also had a question about paint on the trunks of trees. And I've noticed it a lot, but not taken pictures of rectangular marks of paint, light colored paint, might be blue, might be white, might be pink on some trunks. And I wondered whether that was a fallback to the old thing they used to do when the growers would tag the side of the tree that faced south or north. Each grower did it their own way. And the retailers who bought the trees from them knew that Frank tags his plants on the north
side, yeah.
and that told them which way was toward the sun. Because on the side toward the light, if you look at it here, you can see that the rings are wider on the right all the way through and narrower on the left. It's especially apparent in the current rings in the lighter colored wood there and there. On the side toward the light, the cells expand more rapidly and probably divide more times during the year. So you get wider rings and you get that kind of lopsided growth. There is some indication that when you take a plant and turn it around the wrong way, that the bark may not be as thick on the side that was not facing the sun, and you might have more sun scald on the plant. There's also some controversy about that's not really the case.
Well, just looking at this picture this is just one particular plant, the bark is actually thicker on the side, on the shaded side.
But at any rate, I thought that might be what it was, but I talked to a couple of growers and found that they're not doing that, but they are marking some of their plants when they dig them in the field. They grade them for size and put paint on them so that those who grow them on to the next size can quickly separate things without having to stand them up and measure whether it's an 8 foot or a 6 foot.
And it's a little bit quicker to do that than even tag it with a piece of ribbon or plastic, which could blow off or get broken off. And
just roll it with a little sponge painter. So if you see little marks on and they will eventually go away. Bark wears off, bark forms, new bark forms under it and pushes it outward, and it flakes off over time. So paint does eventually go away. And that, of course, led to the question of painting white on the bases of trunks. Dark trunks dark bark gets hot more easily. And if they are in a very exposed place, painting white can keep the bark from getting so hot. So if your bark is susceptible to cracking, they could do that in some orchards. Okay, so poll number 1, which we'll ask Sonia, maybe she will put up here, was how pesty was this year in your garden? Because we've gotten a number of emails and notes from people. Wow, it went up with my Cheryl. That they're saying it was terrible. So if you would, tell us how bad it was in your yard this year, because we haven't been in enough yards to know whether we're making too broad a statement.
Yeah, I do have a question that is a pest question from Carol you can start thinking about. I have a question. My big perennial hibiscus is wilting and losing leaves. I see boreholes in the old canes. Could this be the cause? My 2 other big hibiscus at the church are still blooming and gorgeous.
Wow. I don't know any borer that goes into hibiscus. It's likely, it's not, I don't know it, but it's possible that the corn borer, which goes into about everything, it's the European corn borer, goes into delphinium, it goes into asters, it goes into echinaceas. So it could be corn borer, but I don't know. I'll have to take a look at that one. If the question's in chat, I'll grab it when we're done here. So how pesty was it? Looks like people are saying that it really wasn't very bad. We don't have any worst ever responses, except for those that people have written into us. And that's good to hear, because most of the time it does just go back and forth. A little bit of damage from one thing. What didn't happen last year happens the next year, etc. So 34% said not very pesty and 34% said it was normal. A few said it was better than usual. So if we really look at not very pesty and better than usual, we had 58% of the people saying it was better than usual. So thank you. It helps when we're this year in only about 10 other gardens besides ourselves on a regular basis, rather than 100. It's interesting to hear what they have to say. Hey,
Sorry for the noise, everyone. The butterfly needed to leave, and very quickly needed to leave. Sorry.
Yeah, it's funny that they can't get out by themselves very well, and you get very concerned about them. So we'll go ahead and get started then.